On June 12, 2025, 53-year-old Sunjay Kapur mounted his horse and trotted out onto the Polo Field at the prestigious Guards Polo Club in Windsor. Sunjay was no stranger to polo and often took part in matches across the UK, including playing with his good friend Prince William. But neither fame nor fortune could save him on that fateful June afternoon. It was an extremely rare and unique tragedy that unfolded that day. But first, how did Sunjay get to where he was that day? How did he come to represent a team that often included members of the royal family? Sunjay amassed his wealth largely from taking over the major automobile component manufacturer, Sona Comstar, from his father in 2015. It was a company founded in 1997 by his late father. But Sunjay had a reputation as a businessman before that, though not one that everyone approved of. His first marriage was to fashion designer Nandita Mahtani in 1996 and lasted 4 years. Next, he married Bollywood actress Karisma Kapoor in 2003, and the couple had 2 children, a daughter Samara and a son Kian. Karisma's father disapproved of Sunjay. He could tell he was no good for her. It soon became evident that Sunjay was living a life of infidelity, and no amount of money was going to make Karisma stay. They filed for divorce in 2014, but Sunjay found love again and tied to knot in 2017 with Delhi-based model and socialite Priya Sachdev. They had 2 children together. Although Sunjay's personal life was often front-page news, especially owing to his particularly messy second divorce, he was recognized as one of the world's greatest businessmen and industrialists. In 2022, he officially joined the ranks of the world's billionaires, with a net worth of around $1.2 billion. Despite the controversies that followed him, Sunjay remained undeterred in his pursuit of success. He was known for his sharp instincts, calculated risks, and an uncanny ability to turn struggling ventures into profitable enterprises. Under his leadership, Sona Comstar expanded its global footprint, partnering with leading electric vehicle manufacturers and investing heavily in sustainable technologies. His forward-thinking approach earned him accolades in the automotive industry and made him a frequent keynote speaker at international business forums. Many admired his relentless drive, even as critics questioned the price of his ambition. But his life was cut tragically short. The Thursday afternoon polo match was about to begin. Sunjay loved the thrill of the game, the camaraderie amongst his teammates, and socializing with friends he had known for decades. This particular match was the subsidiary final of the coveted Queen's Cup. This is an annual polo tournament that runs from May to June and is named after the late Queen Elizabeth. It is considered the jewel in the polo calendar, and it encapsulates the best of the British season. Sunjay and his team were playing against Sujan Indian Tigers, a team Sunjay knew well. He was delighted to see their captain and his longtime friend Jaisal Singh. The 2 men posed for a photo moments before the match began. They both embraced tightly and smiled broadly in front of the camera. That was Sunjay's final photo, and his happiness that day was short-lived. Moments later, he would be fighting for his life in the most unimaginable way possible. As the match began, Sunjay expertly steered his horse with great skill and agility. The speed they traveled at whilst also darting in between oncoming horses was incredible. The white ball flew along the ground and through the air with each hit from the players. The spectators watched on the edge of their seats. This was polo at its finest. But there was something in the air, something tiny but deadly. It was a bee, and it was flying directly over the polo field. Sunjay galloped directly into its path. As he panted with the effort of the sport, he sucked in the bee as it flew millimeters from his mouth. The moment was so fleeting that no one saw it happen. Not the players, not the crowd, not even the umpire. Yet inside Sunjay's body, a chain reaction had begun. The bee, confused and agitated by the sudden darkness, released its sting deep inside his throat. It was a moment that blurred the lines between the intensity of sport and the unpredictability of nature. Sunjay's mind raced to understand what had just happened, even as panic started to set in. If Sunjay had been a foot or 2 in any direction, then he wouldn't have collided with the bee. If he had his mouth closed at that split second, then it would have been a very different outcome. But unfortunately, the bee was a direct hit inside Sunjay's mouth. He immediately released his grip on the horse's reins and grabbed his throat. He coughed and gasped. He had felt the bee sting him inside his windpipe. He raised his hand and called to the umpire, "I've swallowed something. I've swallowed something." But this was just something. This insect had the potential to be fatal even for those who aren't allergic to their stings. At the back of Sunjay's windpipe, the sting was firmly lodged into the delicate layer of skin inside Sunjay's throat. The sting was pulsating, forcing the venom out, pumping it into the bloodstream. It started to cause localized swelling, and almost immediately Sunjay could feel his airways closing up. He gasped for breath as they narrowed, and he climbed down off his horse. But that wasn't the worst of it. Although some people produce a mild to moderate allergic reaction to bee and wasp stings, a tiny minority of those suffer even worse symptoms called Kunis syndrome. This is often catastrophic, and it looked as though Sunjay was experiencing the very worst the syndrome had to offer. An allergic reaction, such as one to a bee sting, makes the body release histamine to fight off the allergen. This causes blood vessels to widen, dropping blood pressure quickly. If this reaction turns out to be a massive overreaction from the body's immune system, then the blood pressure gets too low. This means that the heart can't pump enough oxygen to the body and to itself. No oxygen to the heart means severe and irreversible damage to the vital organ. Anaphylaxis also causes fluid and proteins to leak from the bloodstream into surrounding tissues, decreasing the blood pressure further. Sunjay was experiencing this sudden drop in blood pressure. He felt dizzy and weak. His vision went blurry, and he stumbled on the polo field. His heart went into overdrive, trying desperately to pump the much-needed oxygen around his body. But the massive drop in blood pressure triggered an irregular heartbeat. Every heartbeat felt like a hammer striking from inside his chest. He clutched at his ribcage, the thudding growing faster and more erratic by the second. Panic was flooding his system alongside the venom, and his muscles began to tremble under the strain. Around him, the vibrant blur of spectators and galloping horses faded into a distant echo. His body, once the image of strength and control, now felt alien, unpredictable, fragile. He collapsed to his knees, unable to stand against the chaos erupting within him. In the most serious cases, this can cause the heart to stop suddenly. Only 0.5 to 2% of anaphylaxis or severe allergic reaction cases trigger sudden cardiac arrest. The medical professionals consider it extremely rare. An individual would have to be allergic to bee stings in the first place to trigger such a huge reaction, or have an underlying heart condition for this to happen. Sadly, for Sunjay, it appeared that he was in that minority, and he collapsed to the ground just seconds after being stung. Despite the best efforts of the paramedics to revive him, there was nothing that could be done to save Sunjay. Whilst results from the post-mortem are yet to be made public, eyewitnesses at the polo match believe that Sunjay died from a massive and sudden heart attack following the bee sting. His body was flown back to India, where on June 19, 2025, his funeral was held in New Delhi. Sunjay left behind his wife and children and his 2 other children from his marriage to Charisma. At the funeral, it was clear that Charisma was emotional. She was dressed in traditional white as a mark of respect. It was a somber occasion. And as news of his death spread around the world, the circumstances under which it happened shocked his friends and colleagues alike. Sunjay Kapur's tragic death served as a chilling reminder of life's unpredictability, that even in the midst of wealth, power, and prestige, nature can strike without warning. What was meant to be a day of celebration became a moment frozen in shock and sorrow. His legacy in business and sport will live on, but the freak nature of his passing will forever mark June 12, 2025, as the day polo witnessed an unthinkable loss.